What's going on, everybody? We are back recording another episode of Disco Elysium. So this episode, we have some big encounters coming. We are supposed to talk to this corporate rep and then maybe the union boss. So we're going to see two sides of the same coin here. No, that's not what I meant to say. Two different opposing viewpoints of what's going on with the dock workers. And which I believe the man that was murdered was one of the dock workers. So we will go ahead and get into this. Kim has already told me to act wacky with this person, so to throw her off. Otherwise, we'll get some very corporate business talk. So we will try to take his word and be wacky. Your room in the whirling isn't much bigger than this sloop. This is worth more than you'll ever earn in all your life. Okay, not nice.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
She steps closer and holds out her hand over the railing. Alright, Kim has told me to throw her off. My knee-jerk reaction is to shake her hand. But that's because I'm a sheeple. What gave us away?
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Oh, well. We're not too different, me and those people.
What is implied here? That you're a drunk? She hasn't actually said it to every drunk in town. It was spoken in jest.
Man, the cop in me really, the authority really gets its feelings hurt. He got his feelings hurt with that woman, and I think a couple other times last time. I'm torn between, because I always choose the polite dialogue. But this company is not paying its workers a living wage, so we're going to go rude.
Baton, my maiden name.
Her bony hand dangles. Don't shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Oh, Kim. Oh, wait.
She is unfazed by your rudeness, probably chalking it up to local custom.
Oh.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
Oh, how nice. What a setup. That's kind of sweet of him, though. He I feel like this is a little bit of faith in me.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic.
Oh, this is cool.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Okay, what is the most... What is the... I need this, right? Let's start off bizarre.
Why, yes I am.
I think... You're on a boat. Yes, I am. I think I have a handle on the boat thing. Does the boat have a name?
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
Tyler, is that your sloop? Is that your sloop? Is that your sloop over there? Your boat's trash. You got a default skin. You spend all your money on your
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
How do you
My
like the boat?
sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
So wait. He's putting on a face? He actually is enjoying this? Not a lot of people on boats, are there?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
We're on an archipelago?
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Le Caillou? The Caillou?
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas Alamer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Let's correct her then.
Okay, if you want to get technical, the point is we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike.
Alright, I feel like we're starting to get under our nerves. Let's keep pressing this.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Oh, she's talking to you, Kim.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Ravachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
We're just correcting each other back and forth. How pleasant of a conversation this must be.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
I trust that.
You have the guns and the ammo. Take this Clausen fiend down.
Let's talk about the economics of this boat you're on. Go in for the kill. Because this is very... How egregious and in your face to the union workers who are asking for a living wage. She sails in on a private racing vehicle.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Oh God, I need to read more theory. It's a symbol of our subjugation to foreign capital. The bad kind of capital. But is it? What's the difference between domestic versus foreign capital? Is that saying that, like, it's... Oh, how do I even describe this? It's late when I'm recording. It's 1 a.m. But it's like exporting riches and making another country, a competing country, more wealthy than your own. I was trying to... Oh, man. Conspicuous consumption. That I don't remember the ruling class. This just seems arrogant. Or not well stated, right? This could be well stated well. So I'm torn between 1 and 3. Yes, exactly. Just call a spade, or let's just see where this gets us. I might regret this.
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator?
Oh, this seems like a challenge.
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? 33A? This old proletarian haunt here. As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
Please, 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 please.
Oh.
No!
She takes a sip.
Okay.
I don't have it.
Nothing happens for quite a while.
Oh, this is embarrassing. Failed this one pretty bad. Oh, man. Maybe this could still further our primary goal of throwing her off.
It doesn't.
No worries. We can just go back to discussing my fast, large, interminably middle-class boat.
Do you have a license for it?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Good.
Tell me about the Pines.
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
I wonder what the implication is here. What's the significance of that distinction? So what did they
The
do?
Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes, companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Jean-Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
You're in good company then.
Why, thank you.
How much money do they have?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
Why do I even go down these dialogue trees? I don't even know what to do with them when I get down them. $20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A wave hits the sloop. She grasps the mainstay for balance.
A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
Sounds like you're not treating them well to begin with. What happened? Where's they get this money?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the Great Unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
It probably helps to start off with a monopoly.
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, wild pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
What does such a huge system want with a place like this?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
Ooh.
We built this district.
Ooh, who's we though?
We. There it is. She owns up to it.
Oh, yes, it's so cool. This game, oh man, it was so cool. The inflection in the voice actor's voice, I was like, wait, that's going to be significant, the way she said that. And then Rhetoric caught it too.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions. The plaza's meteor and mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Suggestion. What can you tell me about the strike?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
What if I want to hear about those?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade and Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
How do I repeal it then?
Why? By throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the Coalition. Unfortunately for you, the Coalition also leases you the right to police West Revachol.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
Oh.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
What's your role in this precisely?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Oh, so these two are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Tell me more about the behemoth.
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organisation now.
How are talks going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
I wonder why. You come in riding on a golden pony, and then you expect workers to just coddle up and accept your demands, or accept your offer.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
Don't you compare yourself to me.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Oh my gosh, they weren't getting paid overtime and they didn't have medical?
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
Ah. What are their demands?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Oh, that probably means something like they would own, it'd be collective ownership of the company. Let's throw her off.
Then you might also like their other slogan. Demand democracy.
Is that a slogan I like? Are the two even compatible? Every worker a member of the board and demand democracy. So is that implying they don't have democracy now? Yeah, that's a good one.
Personally, I don't think it has the same pizzazzo as every worker a member of the board.
Gosh, the contempt. What exactly do they mean by it, though? What's their demand?
It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what, about anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
I want to say this, but will this help the primary goal? Is this going to move us? Do these even affect our political ideology? Because no, I still have options like this. Am I going to get a trait like social democrat or democratic socialist or communist or free market capitalist or libertarian? If my character becomes a libertarian, I'm ending the run and playing a different game. King is dead, long live the
That
workers.
may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start.
What are you going to do?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
What happened to Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Okay, then.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
From who? Oh, I guess from the, this guy, who's the union boss. Yes, right here. Did you put them there?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrog, come to plead for work where the union refuses to?
Oh.
If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
It's implied she's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Okay, tell me about Mr. Clare.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Wait, is this the racist guy?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Say nothing.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Oh, there's two of them.
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
What about the union itself, outside the Brothers Clare?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
Oh, man. I like the idea of unions advocating for the rights of workers, but if they're led by corrupt people that are just siphoning off the union's dues, it doesn't sound that effective. And, a crime syndicate. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Okay, so let's scratch this one off. I don't want to be a sycophant. I don't want to suck up to this woman because I think she's kind of been sweet-talking these last few dialogue treats, but I still don't trust her. Although I don't think she has anything to do with the murder, per se. Maybe. Maybe secondhand. Maybe she does have something to do with it. Maybe murdering a worker would cause problems for the union. And she could probably set that up a lot easier with the resources she has. Man, this game is really making me think. And the part of my brain that thinks isn't on right now. What is my opinion of them? This is a cop-out. I don't want to do this. I'm gonna take a stance.
Why do you think so?
What she calls corruption is simply an aesthetic category.
Ooh, hell yeah. Thank you, conceptualization coming in clutch. Talking in aesthetic categories is the privilege of the overclass. From what I've seen, most people are just... I really like this. Most people are just trying to survive. between Everett, the human leech, and Measurehead. Oh no, I've read about this guy. This union sounds like a motley crew. I'm into it. Wink. Sounds like they're all Revachol. I'm all Revachol too. To hell with the rest. They're good labor men. Can't fault them for a little corruption. Let's go with this one.
Point taken. But enough about Everett. What else can I do for you?
The crow's feet in the corner of her eyes deepen. She looks to the city behind you, and then to the coast. You said something happened in the elections.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Oh, that's not good.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Eerie.
Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter.
Oh, okay.
The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Alright, let's change the subject.
Of course.
Oh, boy.
How else can I help?
What can you tell me
Quite a
about
few
religion?
things, I'm afraid.
Ooh, wow, surprising.
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Oh god, I don't know my badge number.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
Remember when my partner told you I'd recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to it.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Could have eaten it for all I know.
Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
She must have been suspecting something for a while now.
I can't imagine why. I've tried to throw her off.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
I don't think I've been that odd this conversation.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Damn it.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Alright, 72%. Pities your boat failure. Alright, please, 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 please.
She's
Yes!
a negotiator. Just float a favor at her. Insinuates.
Surely there's some other way to demonstrate our law enforcement credentials.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Like what?
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason.
You're involved in the drug trade.
They're profiting from this trade.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones.
Oh boy. Now we're narcs. The DEA.
Or you can recover your badge. Though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Oh, wow. Rude.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Excuse us for a moment, madam.
Hey. Psst. Psst. Hey. Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again.
Oh, hell yeah, there is a... Nice. There is a, characteristic a political ideology I can build.
Yes, you're ready to start building communism again. You've built it before. They've built it before. Hasn't really worked out yet. But neither has love. Should we just stop building love, too?
Can't argue with that.
So, what about all that communism you've promised to build? Word on the street is, you've woken up from 1,000 years of slumber, promising to erect a version of communism many times greater than any attempted before. Is that true?
How come there's word on the street?
You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pockets, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff.
I've said some mildly left-wing things, but none of those.
Oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Don't deny it. You're about to rip it off and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that would devour and masticate mankind.
Oh, geez, this guy's... He comes in handy in conversations, but he's really a bully in the head.
Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it?
Oh God, there's like no nuance here. There's no socialism. There's just full-on communism. Maybe let's see what this game describes it as. I mean, what is it technically? No class, a classless, moneyless. Oh, what is it? Communism is classless, currencyless. I'm gonna look this up. Hold on. Stateless, classless, and moneyless.
Failure. It's about failure.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough.
Yes, abject failure. Total, irreversible defeat on all fronts. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped and pissed on. Until you came along. You will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world.
Wow, this is some narcissism right here.
You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin, where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist.
Wow.
Now get to work, comrade.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready.
Wait, what firing squads? You didn't say anything about those? I mainly wanted to see what else the dialogue has to say. What else the voice actor's gonna say.
Too late to back out now. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few million eggs.
Brandon's gonna love that. Love that line right there. Alright, let's get to going with this. Mazovian socioeconomics. Oh, I can talk to him right here? Alright, this is probably a good place to end this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. This might be a longer one. This was a full dialogue tree with the major character. Let me save it. Save. Cool, but thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Really appreciate it. But you don't have to. And if you enjoy the content that we make, we'd love to have you subscribe. Either way, you don't have to do either of those. I just appreciate you watching the video. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.